I'm going to take off the tire and make sure you have your lug nut. So loosen them all. One very important safety thing is make sure you put the emergency brake on, and so as you lift your car, it doesn't roll back. Okay, I used the jack, and I'm going to use the jack stands. Okay, take off all the lug nuts now and remove the tire. Now that the tire is off, you can see the rotor. There are some screws that we're going to need to remove. But first we're going to need to remove the caliper. So here's the screws that hold it. There's two of them. With a 14mm socket, that's what we're going to use to loosen these and remove them. Okay, so we remove them completely. Move the bottom one. Pull the caliper straight out. Okay. I'm going to put it just out of the way here. You can see, make sure if you see the springs, make sure you keep them. Sometimes the replacement brakes don't come with the springs. You can see my brake pads were pretty thin, so they're starting to make noise. One other indication that your brake pads need to be replaced is the brake fluid level. If your brake fluid level is low, that means you need to replace your brake pads, or at least inspect what's going on. Now, I don't have my brake rotors turned. I simply replace my rotors each and every time. The whole job for this is $102 and some change in tax, with tax. Okay, so now I need to remove the brace for the caliper. It's a 19mm socket. You have two bolts, top and bottom, very easy. These bolts sometimes are really stuck on there, so I use a pipe to loosen these things, and now I can take these bolts off. Time to remove these screws from the rotor, and I'm trying to turn, but it doesn't turn with a screwdriver. Oh, this one did. Okay, the other one's not. This particular tool here is an impact screwdriver type of a thing. So what you do is you hammer on this end, and as you hammer, it turns it for you. You flip it, see now it flipped, so if I hammer it, it's going to tighten. I flipped it, now it's going to loosen. So, comes off the last one, and the rotor is now loose, and I can simply just start sliding it out. I'm going to need two hands for this. The rotor is completely out. You can see the wear on the rotor. See, it has a little lip, both ends. It has little grooves. And as you brake, sometimes your steering column will shimmy as it rides on those little grooves. One extra tip, if these rotors are stuck on here, because they do get stuck with all the heat and dirt and grime. Okay. You see I have two nuts, two big washers to protect this connector here, the brake. So you put that in, and you notice that as I tighten, you could see that it starts coming out. That's why you want a long bolt, and you want to do both sides. And this starts hitting the rotor until it pops it out, That's why you want to do gradually both sides, so it pushes it even, and that will get your rotor out if it is stuck. So here's the brake fluid reservoir, and one of the things you're going to want to do is open it up and put it on the side, because we're going to push the calipers back in and that fluid's going to come back up. So I like to give a little room. You also may want to clean out the reservoir or change the fluid completely. I'm not going to do that today. It's just, I don't think it's needed. But one of the indications that you also need to change your brake pads, it's the fluid level. As the brake pads wear, the fluid level drops, giving you an indication that you need to change your brake pads. All right. To push in the calipers, you need a clamp. Open it, and then you're gonna start tightening it. It's gonna go inside the cylinder, and just keep tightening until the caliper goes in. You can see that both cylinders are in. Sometimes when you push one, the other one comes out a little bit, so go ahead and push it back in. They're even. You could always put a plank and then tighten it even together so both of them are even. Next step is to put in the new rotors. Here's the new rotor. Look for the holes where the screws are going to go. This one happens to have some extra holes. But you want to line these up, put it in where the holes match. I'm going to put this brace back in. The bolts here, they need to be tightened to 108 newtons. Okay. These brake pads are all identical, so it doesn't matter which one you choose for this particular car. You might want to put some of this lubricant on the brake pad. It's supposed to help to reduce friction and noise. So you want to put some on. Notice that there is a groove up there, fits there. The other groove fits at the bottom. And you're going to want to do it on the other side as well. Put the other pad. They're both nicely seated. Make sure you put in the springs back. You notice there is a hole. This one comes with two of them. So put both of them back in. Now that the springs are in, what we're going to do is take the caliper and we're going to slide it in. I'm going to need two hands to do this, so you'll be able to see it. Let me just give it a shot here, see if I can do it with one hand. I screwed in the bolt. Make sure now you tighten it to the specifications on the screen. You can see. And okay. Now that both brakes have been done, both sides. See, this is the other side. See the fluid's back up. I'm going to put the lid back. The car is still on the jack stands. Put the lug nuts in. I want to make sure that the wheel is seated. What I'm going to do is I'm going to lower the car and then tighten once the wheel is on the ground. Okay. Now the wheels are on. What you want to do is you want to push some of that brake fluid back in to the cylinders. So go and hit your brakes. You'll notice it'll go all the way down. And you want to pump it. There it goes. Till it's firm. Okay, so your car is done.